you have something that you think is particularly important to share with other musicians and stuff that we haven't talked about, I wanted to give you a chance to maybe discuss something that you are very passionate about that we haven't discussed yet.
Um,
And if you don't, it's all good. I just
yeah,
wanted to give the opportunity.
I think there's a lot of topics related to women in music and the experience of being a woman in music. I think one thing that I will say about me is that if you view if you view me as like any kind of a success, which I would view myself as a success, but everyone's definition is different. If you view me as a success, a lot of that is down to the fact that nobody told me that I shouldn't be doing this. So I just kind of kept doing it. And I think this is true, especially of a lot of tuba players who find themselves like eventually, either getting into a full-time gig playing or teaching, like it's not always a straight line. It's not always this path that is laid out for you that works really well. For most of us, myself included, it's just like I just kept playing tuba and I had many opportunities to not be doing that anymore, but I just couldn't stop playing tuba and nobody actively stopped me. Nobody stood in my way. My parents were just kind of like, okay. I mean, I'm sure they asked me, they did ask me like, what's the plan here? But nobody ever, told me not to play this instrument and nobody ever told me to stop um to stop doing what I was doing. So I just kept doing it. And here I am. That goes for my, my spouse as well. So I think that that is a really important thing to note is that there are people who could have, gone further in this field who weren't allowed to do that by whatever bad experience they had, by whatever teacher that pointed them in a different direction or whatever. So it's our job, I believe it's our job to both show that these possibilities are out there of having a very specific route and path that you just keep going and keep plugging away at it and it happens, but also for our students and for, younger students and generations, like making sure that we don't get in anyone's way and that we lift each other up and keep encouraging each other to move forward with that, because the amount of female tuba role models that I had when I was in college has drastically increased to the amount that are out there now, and the amount of all kinds of role models, that are out there now. So what I would love is for us to, as a brass community, move a little bit away from the hero worship, and more toward the, this huge face. I imagine actually, like, I don't know if you've seen like the IWBC poster that would go out, I don't know if this was like 5 or 10 years ago or whatever. They sent out a poster with just a bunch of faces on it. Here's who's going to be at the conference. And that would, like, we would have that up, like in our music department on the bulletin board. Like, there should just be so many faces out there that are inspirational, as opposed to any one, king or queen of the tuba, the euphonium, the horn, whatever. So that's what I would love to see moving forward.
For our final question, this is we ask everyone this. It was a question made up by Lauren, and I think it's an awesome question. Budget and time aside, what would be your dream project?
Hmm. Um, yeah, I guess I have like a small picture and then a big picture answer for this. The small picture is that, like, a lot of the stuff I want to do, nothing's holding me back, and I am doing it. So right now, I am currently working on a book of musical warm-ups for tuba and euphonium, or I guess two separate books where I'm taking things from band literature and I am putting little snippets of music in different keys and turning them into warm ups. So when it comes to that type of like arranging, transcribing, writing, there isn't anything holding me back. And hopefully, and I'm just saying this so that someone will hold me accountable. It should be out, like next year about, let's say, spring of 2021, or 2023. Oh God. But but my big picture thing that I would like to do, I mentioned Ecuador earlier, and that is a place, so that's a place where I have family. That is still very much a developing country. But one thing that I would like to do is with my quintet is the perfect opportunity to do this, but I would like to travel to countries like Ecuador where there is not as much in terms of resources for brass playing and instruction, and do educational tours paired with actually bringing physical like instruments with us. Like I would love to fill a shipping container up with donated brass instruments and bring them there, give them to students, and give some beginning instruction to them, and do concerts for people who haven't really had the opportunity to see brass music, chamber brass music, up close and personal. So Ecuador is a place where I know that would be very much appreciated. But that could be in other places as well. But basically, just kind of taking the show on the road, but to people who maybe haven't had access to anything like this before. So that doesn't need to be only that country, but yeah, that's kind of my dream project. I actually already have like a charity over there that I know someone at who like works with homeless children, who I would like to work with and make that happen. In the coming years, it might not look like that. It's probably gonna look a little bit more like a couple of trumpets in a suitcase on the plane and me with a tuba. But that's the ultimate goal, is basically to tour in places that can't afford to actually pay you to tour there.